Hello and welcome. I just realised I don't have the power of now with me. I was planning on doing some more reading during this episode, and I've just finished the gym and realised I don't have my Kindle, but I thought I would record anyway and maybe make this a more of a journal episode. So touching on from previously, there's certainly still a great struggle to manage each day with my mood and being present. I find myself very grateful for spiritual teachers such as Eckhart Tolle and Mooji. I find their pointings very, very straightforward and simple as they were designed. And it's nice to know that even in the midst of a great deal of anxiety, or you are in the grasp of depression or in the depths of depression, that you can always return to the now. And it's not having expectations about that as well, about having these teachings and thinking, I shouldn't really be having any bad emotions or feelings of anxiety or depression, as things don't work that way. And I'm actually learning that suffering is a great teacher as well. The things we may think we have to fix, or we need to resolve them immediately, or we can't bear another moment. I believe nothing happens to us by chance, by randomness, There was a quote Eckhart shared in one of the audios I listened to. I can't quite remember the words, but I think the essence of the quote was, how can you question what is woven into our destiny? And even just imagining the vast earth, and then the ever-vast universe, the understanding, all of the millions of galaxies, and you realise that our understanding in this form is and this mind is very limited. But we have been given a great gift in being able to be present and in the now, free of thought and free of suffering. So recently I've been listening to a lot of Eckhart's audios, especially when I walk. I find when I'm agitated or anxious, as I've been more so this last week, I've been going out for walks, whether it's to the supermarket or to the park, and I almost use that as as part of my practice, I've made use of walking by mindfully walking and listening to his audios. And I found it's naturally grew my desire to listen to more teachings and the desire to be more present. It's not a effort, or I'm not fighting against something. It's more of again, going back to suffering, an unbearable suffering, and you almost slip into being present, knowing that it's there, that there is a spaciousness away from painful thoughts. And another area of my life that's been challenging is sleep recently, and so that's also been incorporated as a practice, my spiritual practice. So when I get ready for bed, I try and do an activity that's calming, whether it's scribbling on some paper, colouring, or whether it's listening to some meditation music, or watching something that's relaxing. And then I get into bed, and then I simply go into the body. It's been a few weeks now where sleep has been quite difficult for me, and there was lots of thoughts of why can't I sleep? I desperately need sleep. If I don't sleep tonight, I'm going to be more unwell. But I quickly realised those thoughts weren't helping me. The complaining was not helping me. Even the stories, if I told myself a story of having a bad day, and then now, after all of that, I can't sleep as well on top of it. So there was an acceptance of that moment. Okay, I'm lying in bed and sleep is not coming. I'm not feeling tired, so what can you do? And if a thought did come, it was a constructive thought. It was, okay, perhaps I can wait 15 minutes, and if after that I'm not feeling sleepy, then perhaps I can get up again and do something to occupy some time, but that's calming, and then return back to bed. But there wasn't complaining anymore. So even though I mention a lot about my mental health, it's a great teacher as well. And perhaps you can maybe see areas of your life where there may be suffering, or there may be challenges where you may have to interact with a challenging person, or you may have a challenging job, or an activity, or challenging circumstances. Perhaps there's times where you feel lonely, or you feel perhaps life's not moving anywhere, and there's maybe fear of the future, that time is running out for whatever plans your mind had. And simply use that as your practice. When it comes up, realize that these are mental formations. And in this moment, if there isn't any action that you're able to take, then simply accept and surrender to this moment. Because sometimes there may be things you're able to do, or I should say things, there are potential solutions available, but you may not be able to do them in this moment. And it's also surrendering to that as well. And I remember Eckhart saying that if in this moment you can't accept what's happening in this moment, then you can still accept the non-accepting. And I'm pretty sure I smiled at hearing that. So there's always room to step back. Even if right now you can't accept the circumstances of what's happening now, or what the feelings in your body, the emotions, they may be overwhelming. But you can accept that, okay, I'm here and I'm watching this. I don't want to accept it, I don't like this, but in watching there's a spaciousness that opens up. So I find myself planning less of my days, and maybe part of this is to do with my spiritual practice, and part of this could be to do with my mental health, with my mind almost closing down, not able to plan ahead. So I find myself in a day just not knowing what to do. And then I go into presence, and then something comes up. Oh, okay, perhaps I can do this for 5 minutes, or I can do this. But so there's less attention in the future, and this is of course a very simple example of just trying to manage your day, but perhaps it's a blessing in my life in some ways where there aren't any things that may complicate my life or add an extra layer of attention, such as a relationship or working at the moment or struggling to work. So it allows perhaps more attention for my practice in this moment. Perhaps the circumstances, the life circumstances I have are exactly what I need right now, even though my mind is saying, I'm not happy with this, of being alone, or I'm not happy by not being able to work and take care of myself and have some control, whether that's illusory control. So perhaps the next time any suffering arises, perhaps it can be met with compassion, or dare I say, gratitude. That this suffering is not personal, it's not purposeful in the sense of malice or unfairness happening to you. It's just there. Okay, my car is broken down, I'm on the side of a road, and it's extremely cold as I wait for the tow truck to come. It may be raining, but okay, there you are. Instead of potentially mental commentary of, I knew before I should have left the house, I should have brought my umbrella. God, how could I be so stupid, forgetting that? Or I should have checked this in the car when there was a problem, and now it's too late. And all of that brings up emotions and stirs the mind, takes you out of being present without achieving anything, but simply a conditioned reaction, a habitual reaction of our mind linking up to our identity and what's happening now. It's making its interpretations. So perhaps in this moment we can have a little bit of time of just being present right now. What needs to be done in this moment, but simply be here. The simplicity of just being in the present moment. Do you have to think of anything in this moment? If you don't, would there be a terrible catastrophe of just simply putting the mind down to rest, to simply allow what is in this moment to allow your life circumstances in this moment. In this moment, is there a problem? There may be challenges, but in this moment, can you find a problem without using the mind? So, as well as difficulty in sleeping, I found I've been extra sensitive to noise, to people's voices, to certain noises, and again, I've tried to use this as a teaching. And it's not been in the case of, there's a loud noise, okay, I need to make this a spiritual practice. It's been a natural unbearableness of the noise, and okay, I need to be present right now. And it's almost a natural slipping into being present, aware that my mind is making this even more painful. And it's not the case where you simply have to put up with things, or that, okay, I can be present and that should resolve everything. By all means, take action with something. For instance, I've recently bought some headphones that will help reduce noise. They've got certain ear pads that almost create a bit of a seal around your ears, and it won't eliminate it entirely, but it does help reduce the noise, especially when I'm walking outside. It allows me to listen to spiritual teachings a lot clearer. It helps. If I'm in an environment where the noise is overwhelming, it's causing anxiety, then I can simply slip those on and put on some spiritual meditation. And it doesn't fully resolve the issue, I'm sure there are some headphones out there that will completely cut off the noise, but right now that's not a solution, in terms of what I can afford. But there is action to be taken. Okay, I can't afford those, very nice headphones that will completely or limit the noise to a great degree, but okay, there's something else I can afford that it will help in some way. So the idea of spiritual teachings is it's almost to speed up what's inevitably happening right now. So we are all evolving into consciousness, but this is simply speeding it up. So I don't have the power of now with me, but perhaps I can jump onto Twitter. I usually read from Instagram some of the quotes or accounts I follow, but on Twitter I'm following some Zen accounts and some Eckhart's account as well, various quotes, so perhaps I can find something on there to share. So I'll begin with this quote, and this is from Mooji's Twitter account. A quote, and here it is. "The power of the Supreme is so great, it allows you to be nothing. There is no need to be somebody. No need to prove anything. You without you. This is the greatest freedom and love." So I'll just let that absorb for a few moments there. And Mooji is talking about the heaviness of being a person. All of that mental conditioning, those mental structures. And I felt the heaviness of it, which is why I think my mind is almost receding in that sense. Perhaps not in the most healthiest ways, but there's almost, I can't manage all of that thinking right now. And even to the degree of managing my day, it's too much. It's too heavy. And I'll leave you with this quote. And it's from, if I'm pronouncing this right, Ajahn Chah. And I'm probably not pronouncing that right. And this is from the Twitter account Zen Proverbs. And here it is. "There are two kinds of suffering. There is the suffering you run away from, which follows you everywhere. And there is the suffering you face directly, and so become free." And I will leave you there with that quote. And I hope it was okay recording this episode. Sometimes I've recorded something and I have no idea how it's come across. In other episodes, there is some intuition that, okay, I've given some clear pointings, or I've explained something clearly, or another episode such as this one, I feel like, oh, was this useful? But I guess I have to remind myself that this podcast is just simply me sharing my journey into spiritual discovery, into the spiritual journey. So it's just my commentary on what's happening now. It's not necessarily. Sometimes my mind comes up with a thought that every episode, everything I share has to be as good, or has to be all about spiritual teachings and conveyed in a very clear way. And it's simply a reminder that this is not that. That content is there, it's available for people, but this is simply me sharing this journey. And of course, if there are any pointings and teachings that I relay from what I've learned, and if that becomes of some use, then that's great. But ultimately, it's simply me sharing about my day or my practice. That's something I'll continually have to probably remind myself of. Okay, well, thank you for spending this time with me today, in this present moment we're sharing. And I wish you well for the rest of your day. And as always, I will speak to you again very soon. Take care.